Okay, so before we start mudding, I just want to give a quick recap on some of these joints and kind of give you guys a tip on how to read the joint, right? So let's say you had all stand-up drywall, right? We talked about that in another video. If all your drywall is stand-up. Well, it's not too bad when you come to metal or aluminum studs because for the most part, those don't twist. But when it comes to wood studs, the wood studs are never, I mean, unless you're gonna sit there and pick all the lumber, especially if you're not the one who did the framing or the hanging, the studs twist, right? They twist, they bow out, they do different things. So when you're hanging the drywall, you're gonna have different contours in the drywall, the back of it, especially when it comes to the butt joints and things like that. So a good way to test it is you're gonna place your knife on there, flat on there, just flat against the drywall, and you're gonna kind of wiggle back and forth to see what side is your deep side, right? So yesterday I introduced you guys to this belly band, right? A belly band is when you have a rip of drywall that's in between two finished sheets. So down here we have the fill, which is the recess side, and it's not that much of an infill. It's normal, right? It's a normal infill. Up here we have a cut edge with the factory edge, and we have some play, okay? There's a good feeling that we're gonna need on the top part. Now on this side, I introduced you guys to a bastard joint. A bastard joint, I did stand these up. I stood these two up because one side is your recess side, the whole other side is a cut side, right? The proper way to do that, to hang it, if you didn't wanna have any butt joints, right? If you don't wanna have any butt joints, the proper way to do stand up is you stand it up, you throw the cut piece into the corner, and you try to line all your recess pieces all the way till you get to the next end. Hopefully that last cut will end up in the other corner or angle on the other end of the wall. Anyways, the same thing here. Now we pre-filled all of these before we put the tape on, which gave it a little bit of fill. This one is not bad at all. It's not bad at all for being a bastard joint. Now another fill joint is here. You put your knife on it. There's no wiggle, I can't wiggle, there's no back and forth. We have a butt joint here. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is, we have a high and a low side, okay? It seems like the low side is this side. This is the side that's gonna be the more fill-in. It's gonna be the hollower side. That's where I'm gonna focus first. Down here we have another one. I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna say it's this side that's gonna need to be focused on with more mud. Up here we have another fill joint. Pretty standard. We have a small butt joint. Okay, there's a little bit of a play there. We have another butt joint here. There's a little bit of a play there. Now, depending on who your foreman is, depending on who your mentor is, depending on who's training you, they're gonna tell you run those butts different. So the way some people do it is they're gonna do their first coat, they'll go one right down the middle. Some of them will go on either side. Some of them will do just fill in the heavy side. On my first coat, I typically choose to just fill in the heavy side because if, like I said in another video, the whole premise behind drywall finishing is you put the mud where it needs it and you don't where it doesn't. That's it. Put the mud where it needs it, you don't put it where it doesn't. So why put mud, 2-3 layers of mud on a part that doesn't need it when you need to fill that first void first, right? Makes sense to me. So on my jobs, what I do is I'll find the low side and I'll put the heavier mud there, okay? So here we're gonna focus on this side, this side. Now on this case, this one is an even hump, okay? So this one I will split and I'll bring the camera in when I come to do that so you guys can see that. And then this one seems to have the gap on this side, okay? So again, some people do it different. There's not a right or wrong way. You just wanna fill that gap or that void. I prefer not to put mud everywhere all over my joints, only where it needs it on the first coat. And typically how they're ran, typically how the mud is ran. You're gonna do all your fills first, right? You're gonna do all your flat fills first. Then you're gonna come behind and you're gonna do your butt joints, okay? And then, typically on bigger jobs, you're not gonna do your angles until you do your second coat of mud. And that's because your angles only get 2 coats. Now, depending the level of the drywall finish that you're doing, that's gonna determine how many coats or skim coats or tape and bed that you put over your joints, okay? I'm gonna do another video of that just so I can explain that a little bit better. But I just wanted to give you the basis of how that protocol goes. It's your fields, your butts, your metal. Second coat, you do your fields, your butts, your angles, your metal, okay? And there's different ways to do the angles, so we're gonna do a whole video on that. And then your third coat is different, because your third coat, you're gonna pull your butts all the way through the field and then run your field. But we'll get to that later down the line. So let me grab a couple things, get ready, and then we'll get back into it.